that record holds out with Hamilton leading by 20.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Grand Prix Podcast. I'm Elton, this is Andy.
Hello.
And we are here to talk about the 2018 Spanish Grand Prix. Or the Spanish.
No, let's talk about the 1918 Spanish Grand Prix. And we can talk like this.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
yes.
hello.
Tally-ho.
Yes. Tally-ho, what? I say, I was watching the race on my Videodrome for my Automacar.
Well, we should be calling it the Spanish Grand Prix, shouldn't we?
I was going to say it's the Spanish Grand Prix, yes.
What the hell?
Can you please make sure, I know when you do the pictures for this thing,
Yeah.
use that one. I
will.
want Spanish GP.
I already have it, mate.
Yeah.
So if
was
you
just one of them, or were they all done wrong?
the signs,
Because, they were all along the pit lane, and I don't know if it was just one of them or if they were all wrong. And either way, it's kind of terrible either way you cut that, because if they've all gone wrong, you think you've done the first one, someone would have pointed out you've done that wrong, don't do the rest. But equally so, if I've just done one wrong, you'd think, oh, we should probably change that, and, before the race kicks off and everything.
Yeah, well, let's cue people up, because they might not know, because it was hurried up and covered up very rapidly, wasn't it?
Quite a scandal, though.
Yeah. In the pit lane, you have the racing line, shall we say, the in and out lane, and also the pit boxes where all the drivers pull in and have all their work done on their cars. And in between there's probably nearly a meter's worth of tarmac where you have the names of the drivers written on there. And
it's
their
usually
numbers.
the place where the cars crash into each other when it's an unsafe release.
Exactly. It's exact apex of that, isn't it?
Yes.
And along there, at certain points, they have the hashtag, because we all want to be down with the kids, the hashtag Spanish Grand Prix. But someone misspelt, and look, I'm not moaning because I'm the world's worst speller as well, but someone misspelt Spanish and put Spainish. So, someone noticed it in FP1 and it was hurriedly covered up with tarmac and was never said anything about it ever again.
Let's never speak of it again.
Yes, let's just hurry up that. But the hashtag Spainish continued, which was jolly good fun to see.
Yes. Yes.
And you can't blame them either.
Oh God! Again, I'm hardly the best speller myself.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't particularly blame the individual doing it. More the supervisor and all the other people who really should have done a better job of, making sure.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. Yeah, someone should have picked it up and gone, well, that's wrong. But I don't know. I could have done it myself. And maybe it was done and someone went, oh, nuts. We put an extra I in there. What should we do? Don't worry about it. Nobody will notice. It's not like it's going to be on TV or anything. And maybe they just left it and then all of a sudden got caught out and was like, oh, balls, we're going to have to change that, aren't we? So, yeah, it was hurriedly covered over with brand new tarmac. So,
yeah,
there we go.
I'm looking at pictures here, and it's great. It's one of a Sauber going up along the pit lane next to it. It's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, it's a work of art. It is pure genius. So bravo to that person who spelt Spanish.
Yes.
Okay, so we got the Grand Prix to talk about. Well, I'm sure we got a little bit of news to come in before the free practices and qualifying as well. But I would just want to get a tonal reference on your thoughts on the race today, because I think I have thoughts on it. I'm a little bit confused on it as well, but I'd like to hear your thoughts just in a brief summary, if you would.
I would give this race, the 2018 Spanish Grand Prix, a resounding meh.
Right. Okay. Now, where does it rank on the races this season?
The races thus far this season, I would rate it. I would rate the race we've had so far thusly Number 1, obviously, Azerbaijan.
All right.
In fact, Azerbaijan actually kind of takes the top 3. Then 4, I'd probably go with... It's a tie between Bahrain and China, frankly.
Okay.
Then this, the Spanish Grand Prix.
Yep.
And yes, I am going to refer to it as the Spanish Grand Prix for the entire episode. And then a few more slots further down is the Australian Grand Prix.
Right, okay. What do I want to say about this? I am fully aware that there was more action in this race, but I think I preferred the Australian Grand Prix.
Really?
Yeah.
But you're still putting this behind everything else?
Oh, yeah. But I know that there was more on-track action. But it was, I don't know, it was, lap 1 and then it's kind of all over. So,
plus, the Australian Grand Prix is always excited because it's the first race back. There's always that certain, yay, we're back to school. Yeah.
All your pencils are sharpened, ready to go, aren't they?
Got new pencil cases, you know?
No one's written on it or anything. It's all fresh and new, and you get to cover your books when the teacher asks you next time out, don't you?
Yeah.
So that might be something to do with it. So, okay, officially, let's tie it with the Australian Grand Prix. There we go.
Okay, fine. So what we're basically saying is the best race of this year's Formula One season is Azerbaijan, obviously. Then it's a tie between Bahrain and China. No,
I would say China was better than Bahrain.
You reckon?
Yeah.
All right, fine. I'm happy. They're close enough to me that I can take or leave either way. But they're close enough, I would say, in my estimation.
Right.
And then several steps below down is Australia and this.
Yeah, that's right. So there we go. Now that's not just the end of the show. So
no, that's not. You kind of got to stick around. For it. We have bits and pieces of news.
Yep.
Let's see. First off, and if you haven't listened to our little recap of the 6-hour Spa GP, you should do. The WEC race, which is on the feed and RogueTwoMedia.com and all that sort of thing. But Alonso won a race. Hey!
He did, didn't he?
He did. He took part in his first World Endurance Championship race. I mean, he did do the Daytona Spa 6-hour, but that's not a part of the season, effectively. So,
right.
Yes, in his first race of the season, and he won. Well done, man.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
First time in, 5 years being on the top of the step?
Last win was 2013. I think it was in Spain.
Yeah.
And he's never won at Spa before, so it was his first win at Spa as well.
Yeah, that surprises me.
And I got to tell you, and again, we're not going to get into it. If you want to listen, go and listen to the cast. But I thoroughly enjoyed that race. It was great. I really liked that. So if you want us to do more of the WEC Championship, let us know. Email us at boxboxbox.
At grandprixpodcast.com.
At grandprixpodcast.com. I knew the box bit anyway. Do that, or tell us on Twitter or wherever, send carrier pigeons. It's all good. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun.
By the way, as a little caveat to that, I saw the flip that was at Eau Rouge.
Yeah. That was nasty, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was grim. So, that was...
It reminded me of Mark Webber at Le Mans many moons ago when his Mercedes went arse over tit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it just took off and that was it. He was skyward bound, should we say. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was a nasty one to see. And the sound of it as well. It does sound like a light aircraft just hitting the ground, doesn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, other news, such as it is, we had... I don't know if we mentioned this last time out. This might have been, in a thing. But the teams have agreed... and I'm finger quoting on agreed, some changes for next year, 2019. So the front wings are going to get a lot simpler, more akin to what they were supposed to be in 2009, and probably closer to what we last had in the late 90s. I don't think they're going to have all those elements on the front, and also going to have larger rear wings.
Larger rear wings?
Well, larger openings on the DRS thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the DRS is more powerful.
Yeah,
right.
And the apparently all the teams were against this, except for the ones which weren't. But enough of basically they had enough teams to go through, where if the FIA and Liberty Media or FOM or whatever you want to call it, agreed as well. They didn't need to get unanimous agreement before the end of April. So that's gone through now. So lots of teams are going, not fair, don't like it. And you had the usual sound bites from Christian Horner saying, oh, we shouldn't be, knee-jerking. These things need to be more researched and all that. But apparently this is the single most researched change in F1 history.
Right. Well, I think Christian Horner's turned around and say, yeah, we don't need a knee-jerk because his cars are starting to creep towards the front of the grid again.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's like, well, do we have to change things? When we were mid-pack and dropping back and didn't have a single chance of winning anything, then yeah, okay, let's change things. But now we're starting to creep forward and things are closing up. Let's just leave things alone. Now, I'm in favour of static rules, leave them for 10 years and see what happens, because people will close that gap.
Well, absolutely. But I mean, we are I agree this was a bit knee-jerk after Australia. But the reason I'll give them a pass is effectively they did then turn around to all the teams and they said to the teams, we want you to do the research. You go off and do the fluid dynamics and everything like that, and you report back to us. We'll do it with the stuff we've done independently and see what we think then. So the teams did that. And off of the back of all that, you had so basically, I don't think this is official, but the rumour it has, and again, I'm quoting rumours, is Ferrari, Red Bull, Renault, McLaren, Toro Rosso and Haas all voted no. But Williams, Mercedes, Force India and Sauber voted yes. And with the addition of the FIA and with FOM, those rules went through. And frankly, I'm in favour of it because there's too much reliant on aerodynamic grip, which is what causes stuff like Ricciardo going into the back of Magnussen, and it's what makes the cars impossible to follow closely most of the time. So, and as evidence this weekend, we'll save that for later. Yeah. But yeah, so I think I'm fine with this, to be honest.
Okay. Well, I'm happy if there's research done behind it. If it's just a case of some guys going down the pub and going, well, like me and you just shooting the breeze and going, well, what would really change things? And we go, right, well, this and this and this. Okay, fine, let's implement it. Like
my genius idea to actually run F2 and Formula 1 at the same time on the same race circuit. It's a genius idea. They should totally do that for next year.
Yes, that's more towards the end of the night, isn't it? It's like, let's try and sneak that one in as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, there was that. There was a lot of talk and everything about that. What else did we have? Miami is in talks to hold a race next year.
Oh yes, I saw the track layout for this.
Yeah, it's long straights basically. Yeah, it would be the long straight in Formula 1, wouldn't it?
I don't know. It's over a bridge, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think it's only because they got real long bridges. Why not just make it all the way down to the end of the Keys? Why not just do that?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, if they give us another Azerbaijan, I'm all for it. If it turns out to be another Valencia, no thank you. So
yeah.
Okay. But we'll see. I mean, again, Liberty Media said they want ideally to have 3 races in the US. Don't know where you're going to fit those in, but whatever.
3 races in the US. So, okay, you've already got the central one with Austin.
You've got the US Grand Prix in Austin, yeah.
You're going to have an East Coast and West Coast one, surely?
You'd think so.
So they want either Miami or New York. And then maybe a California one.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking the only West Coast circuit I can ever think of is Laguna Seca. And while I would adore watching that, there's no way that circuit's going to pass the safety standards.
No way. No way. They'd have to spend millions there.
Yeah, they'd end up ruining it and it just wouldn't be Laguna Seca anymore. But I say that, it would be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Down the corkscrew. Oh, yeah.
I would be well up for that. But yeah, I'd imagine Formula 1 would come in, ruin the whole circuit, and then IndyCar will be like, well, okay, we're not using this anymore.
I mean, just as a sideline there, mentioning that, I read an interesting thing with Alex Wirtz about the introduction of the Halo. And he goes, they've kind of fluffed the introduction of the Halo because they haven't really given the fans anything as compensation for having the halo there. Because he said what you could have done is you could have made other circuits which currently aren't accessible to Formula One accessible because of the higher safety standards on the cars. So you could have gone to some of the older circuits and said, well, these are okay now because we have the halo to go there. Again, I'm not saying Laguna Seca ever would be, but it was a case of, well, yeah, if they'd have done something like that, yeah, that could have made the halo a bit less feeling like it was hoisted on everyone.
Did he honestly say that? Right, because I can't see how he could justify that.
I don't think he was saying, oh, we want to go to dangerous circuits. But, you know, the rules are there's got to be certain amounts of clear runoff areas and everything like this and other bits and pieces. And I think he was basically saying you could effectively, and it was just abstract talking here, you could open up other circuits potentially using the justification that with the halo, these are okay to race on.
Right. Okay. I can't agree with that, but okay, fine. I get it.
Yes.
I get it. Yeah, compensation. But let's all be honest. After one race, we were like, okay, fine. It's there now. We kind of ignore it now.
Oh, absolutely. So, totally ignore it. In fact, I'll tell you what I saw today when they were doing the grid walk. One of the cameras got really close to, I think, Gasly. And it kind of was mounted roughly where the halo was. And I'm like, if you can stick a decent camera just there, that gives you like it's almost like a Le Mans LMP1 style view of the driver.
Yep.
I'm like, do it. Put it there because you can see the guy working. And do you remember when Alonso used to have it in his mirrors?
Yep.
Do that. Yeah. Stick it there. Put a camera there. We'll be happy.
Yeah. I kind of miss them. I liked all them mirrors as well. The camera mirrors, but I think that will come. I think it might just be next year. I think this was a year of, okay, let's install it and let's not say anything more about it, which I'll get onto in a second.
Well, I was about to say it because we've seen other people playing with the halos. Yeah.
But yeah, I think next year they might start installing cameras. But you know, if you want to move on to that, then please move on to that.
Well, all I'm just saying is one of the things we saw, a few teams brought some rather large upgrades to the Spanish Grand Prix. McLaren with an interesting new nose. Quite liked it, to be honest. It took a little getting used to, but once I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'm okay with that. Red Bull brought a newish package. And then Ferrari added some mirrors to the halo, claiming that it improved the visibility or some bollocks. But then they said, plus we need these little wings to help support them.
Yep.
And wouldn't you know, the FIA have now turned around and says, you can't have those next time out. You can have them here this weekend, but after that they go.
Okay, your thoughts on these then? What do you think of these?
Oh, it's cheeky fuckers. I mean, look, they were going to do it. Absolutely. I don't particularly care about mounting the mirrors on the halo. That's fine. But those little wings above it, it's just like, yeah, you cheeky fucks.
Do you know? I hate them. I really hate them. I hate the idea of them. It's just, the halo is there for a reason. It is a safety mechanism. And you start hanging stuff off it. I don't like the little flaring things that they put on top of them. And I said this when we first saw them testing them.
Yep.
I'm adamant that you don't stick anything on it. They are there for one reason.
You think it should just, and I'm with you. I think it should become from the FAI. It's a holomated, it's one size fits all thing. It's like, boom.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So sticking winglets on there really pissed me off. And I'm glad that I didn't want them to get thrown out because of stupid wind mirrors, but I would love to have seen someone take a hacksaw to them because they still had the covers to put the old the mirrors on there, and they would have been able to ship them over. But I would love to have seen someone, okay, fine, look, we're going to have to hacksaw these things off and make the best of a bad job. Just remove them and then put the old wings, wing mirrors back on. I think it's cheeky and it's kind of a two fingers up to someone. I just don't like it. I feel offended that they've tried this. And so Ferrari can fuck off as far as I'm concerned.
And I mentioned this way back when in our pre-season cast, why do we still have sodding mirrors full stop and not some rear-facing camera or something?
Yeah, that would work.
Well, it'd be better than the mirrors because apparently every driver and everyone agrees that the mirrors are next to useless on these cars.
Yeah,
and we know for a fact
HD
that
cameras, couldn't you?
there are certainly certain drivers who don't use them. I won't mention names, but anyway. I think that's... Oh, wait, one last bit of news. And this is...
Can I just say the mirrors were split as well? They kind of got the blind spot thing.
They've got the blind spot mirror, haven't they? They're like on those big ones you used to get on coaches.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Or when you saw a white van man and he'd have that little mirror that was sellotaped onto the bottom corner.
Yeah.
It was like that, so, yeah.
They don't use them either, so it seems fitting.
No, that's true.
Last bit of news, and it's not really news that's happened, but news that's about to happen. Supposedly, Red Bull have to make a decision by Tuesday if they're going to stay with Renault or go to Honda.
Right, okay.
Renault have said they want to know by May 15th. Red Bull have said they want to make a decision after the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yep.
Now, my understanding is Renault have to declare who they're supplying by mid-season, is it? Because after then, they can force teams to... FIA can force teams to provide engines, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, because that's what happened kind of with last year with the McLaren situation.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the teams were obliged to provide a certain number. Anyway, Renault want this sorted now.
Right, okay.
And fair enough, if you ask me. I don't think it's particularly fair for Red Bull to string them along like that because, they got development to do.
Well,
shit to figure out.
You think about it, if Renault lost Red Bull, then Renault would become the top Renault team, wouldn't they?
Oh, yes.
Straight off the bat. So they could be rubbing their hands at that.
I just think they're sick of how they've been treated by Red Bull. And hell, I've got a lot of respect for how patient Renault have been with Red Bull. Because, hell, if I was working with someone, in a partnership and they treated me the way Red Bull did, tell them to fuck right off.
Well, yeah, that couple of years ago when they were slagging them right off and when Daniel Ricciardo was winning races and Vettel couldn't grab a win for love nor money. And they were really bitching about them then. And then once again you had Red Bull saying, oh, we're going to quit Formula One, blah, 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 blah. And Renault, yeah, fair enough, they weren't performing, but they were all very apologetic and they tried to correct things as soon as they could. And to smooth it over, they were allowed to badge the Red Bull engine as a Tag Heuer.
Yeah.
So, they've done everything they really can politically. So.
Absolutely. I mean, that whole badge them as Tag Heuer thing actually seems petty to me, but.
Yeah. Do you reckon Red Bull would take up the Hondas?
Would you at the minute?
No.
Nope. I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. No. I'd stay with the
Renault.
And
again, Honda have come on a long way this year. But, I mean, you look at where they are compared to everyone else, it's like, it's kind of a no-brainer, really. It's like, nah.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, well. Anyway, until I have some sort of weird acid flashback, I think that's all of the news.
Okay, I've got two little bits, if you don't mind.
Oh, of course.
First one was Kubica. He was running in FP1.
He was.
And it was jolly good to see him there. But I think it was lost in translation, but he said he was embarrassed to be racing that car. But I think it might have been a lost in translation situation. So,
like an Alonso lost in translation situation?
No, this was an actual one.
Okay.
And the Red Bull duo have been told that they can race, but if shit goes south again, then strings might be pulled and they might be told to either change positions or calm things down a little bit. So I think we're yet to see that happen, and it might happen towards the end of the season. But, they've been given a stern telling off. They've apologised to everyone, and there is peace between the two. So,
I quite liked how Christian Horner said they've been on a naughty step for the last week.
Yeah. Oh, man, wouldn't that be great? Just watching them. Sat on the same step as well.
with a dunce cap on.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all the news that I had anyway. So
okay then. Well, let's get on with this.
Okay.
The Spanish Grand Prix.
Right, I'm going to fly through the FP1s and FP2s and FP3s if that's all right.
Of course.
Okay, so we had a lot of drivers struggling for grip on this brand new service that we had. It was I'm not too sure when it was re-tarmacked, but there was obviously a lot of oil still seeping through the top of the asphalt, and people were really struggling, which I might get on into when we do the race itself about tyres and tyre choices. So, yeah, I definitely will get into it in the race itself. But, yeah, the surface has been done all over again, and we had Daniel Ricciardo dropping it at turn 4 at one point, so he missed out on most of FP1. FP2, Grosjean was the first one to take to the gravel, and I think it took him just 6 minutes to bin it. So yeah, FP2 starts 6 minutes later, Grosjean's in the gravel, and that's it. It's over and done with. We also had Kimi break down mid corner, I think it was. And he turned the engine off and ended up rolling back to the pits. Not too sure exactly what it was. It sounded like it was an engine problem. So, yeah, it was.
That's a little ominous, and actually, I quite like that, because if you all remember last year, they wanted, I think Red Bull anyway. In fact, most of the teams wanted to go back to a 4-engine allocation.
Yep.
And Ferrari vetoed it, saying, we've done the work to make sure our engines are reliable.
Well, there you go. It's biting them in the bum again, isn't
it?
Wah. That's the thing. Yeah, they should. Oh, man. If you turn around and veto something like that, it's bound to come back to you. Isn't it? Surely.
You'd think so, but here we are.
Yeah. And also in FP2, we had Perez stop on track after he was released after his front wheel worked its way loose, and then they had to do like a 20-point turn to get the car off the track. So he was going round. It seemed to pop off, but it was caught by the catchment nut, which is fine. Then he said, I'll try and get it back, but we all know the rules. If that happens, you got to stop it and pull over and remove yourself from the track at the nearest possible exit. And he didn't do that. He pushed it a little bit too far, and it sounded like his team, not using code words, turned around and said, look, can you get it back? Can you? Try to. But alas, he couldn't. He chose to stop out on the track, and they lost the rest of the session. I don't think it was too much that they lost. And the biggest thing from FP3 was Mr. Brandon Hartley.
Oh, yes.
This was incredible. We were going into the last 5 or so minutes, and he ended up touching the grass going into turn 9. He ended up spinning his car around and hit the barriers backwards, which totally destroyed the rear of his Toro Rosso. Now, I feel sorry for him, and I feel sorry for Toro Rosso, but man, I pissed myself at this, because he destroyed the back of the car. He got out the car, and then the crews on site started to tend to the car and try and put it on a flatbed. And as they lifted this car up, it broke in two. It
looked like the gearbox kind of came away from the engine, didn't it? It just went plop.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure what broke there. I wasn't too sure whether the actual engine had fallen off the mountains or what, but...
No, I mean, I'm looking at a picture of it now, and that's so far back. I think that's roughly where they get... Because if you remember back to the the McLaren documentary from last year,
mm-hmm.
we got to saw the engine and where the gearbox and everything mounted.
Yeah.
So I think that's the gearbox has come away.
Right, okay. But
I mean, it's probably taken part of the engine with it, because the engine is fucked.
Yes, definitely. I would say that it was a whole new car, really, wasn't it? It was just, at the front, maybe take the tub from it, but...
Well, yeah, they salvaged the chassis, but they had to completely rebuild the engine and everything, which means that he is now on his last engine for this season.
Already? Is it the last engine already?
Yep.
Jesus, man. Right, okay. Well, he's doing really well then, isn't he? What are we, 5 races into the season already? Oh, man. Anyway, so yes, he destroyed the rear of his car. Thus, he couldn't partake in the qualifying because his car was so badly destroyed. So he did start from the very back of the grid, and he had to ask for permission to do that. But yeah, he didn't even partake in qualifying at all, which I will get onto now. And so Vettel was quickest in Q1, while Stroll finished in the wall again. People were struggling for grip all over the place, and I think we saw that in the race as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, we're getting to that soon. We lost in Q1 Hartley, of course, because he didn't take part. Stroll, Sorokin, Ericsson, and Hulk. Now, Hulkenberg had a problem. He had a fuel pressure problem where...
It made some weird sound or something, didn't it, going down the old...
Yeah. They were asking him to wiggle left and right as well to get some fuel into the engine. But I would have thought that with the baffles inside the actual fuel cell itself, then that might not work. But, I'm not an engineer. That's why I don't work for Renault. Anyway, so yeah, he went out. I think he was a bit shortchanged. He did do a faster lap, but it just wasn't fast enough to get him through. So he succumbed to Q1. In Q2, very dull. Nothing happened. We lost Perez, Leclerc, Ocon, Gasly, and Van Dorn. And in Q3, Hamilton went fastest on his first run and then just decided to destroy the pole position lap and, set about smashing that, and he ended up getting pole. So I thought it was very dull qualifying. There was no real excitement there at all.
I didn't see it because I was away on Saturday.
Yeah.
In the south of France. And, meh.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed at all. There was no excitement there for me. I think the most excitement was in FP3 when Hartley crashed his car. So, there we go. Anyway, should we do the race?
I suppose we better. That's what these good people have come here to listen to.
It certainly is. So, what would you like to talk
Grosjean.
about? Okay, let's do this then.
Let's just do this.
I was going to, just ask the question, maybe guess at what you'd like to speak about first.
No, let's just do it. Let's do this.
Okay.
Grosjean.
Okay, right.
Grosjean, who's obviously been reading up on the history of the Second World War, knows that what you want to do to confuse and baffle the enemy is to lay down a smoke screen, meaning that they can't see you. So what happens is he spun, but he didn't want the people behind him to see he'd spun because he'd be embarrassed. So he spun his wheels up really, really quickly, planted a throttle, spun his wheels up, destroyed his tyres, made a beautiful smoke screen all the way across the track, and promptly took out like 2 other cars.
It is like he threw out grenades. It's like smoke grenades and went, oh, suckler blur, throw out some grenades and they won't be able to see me.
The thing is, these cars have got anti-stall these days, right? So he doesn't need to plant the throttle to stop the engine stalling. Furthermore, he wasn't anywhere near a bloody wall when it happened, so he's not going to go flying into the back of the wall.
No.
So why did he do it?
He has said that he wanted to spin it round as quickly as possible.
Did he try blaming Ericsson again?
Oh, don't. Don't. This was in turn 3, wasn't it? Where everyone got away pretty well. There was no bumping and grinding. There was a little Van Dorn cut the corner and then didn't go past the bollard, so he got penalised for that later on.
Yeah.
Ericsson did the same, but didn't go past.
But he did go around the bollard, so he was all right. Yeah,
so he was fine. But then getting into turn 3, and Grosjean, he was missighted by his teammate Magnussen in front of him, who had a little wiggle on the slippery surface once again.
You see Alonso doing it as well. I mean, we thought Alonso was having the accident before we saw.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So I thought this was extremely dangerous what he did, and I think he has been penalised for the next race, hasn't he?
He's been given a 3-place grid penalty for the next race, and I don't think he's been giving any penalty points. Let me just have a quick look.
I thought he was so dangerous, though.
Yeah, he's given a 3-place grid penalty, and quite rightly too.
Mm.
He's got 2 penalty points as well.
Oh, okay. Right.
But yeah. It was just unnecessary. It was stupid. It destroyed his race, it destroyed Hulkenberg's race, and it destroyed Gasly's race.
Mm-hmm.
If he hadn't done that, he'd have probably been, got it going again, and he'd have been away.
Yeah, what was he trying to achieve with it? I know he's already lost the car. He knows it's going to go round anyway. So surely he's better off just backing off the throttle.
Well, I was reading, listening to Martin Brundle, and he thinks it might be, because Magnussen's he's scored a few points and everything like that. Where's he up to at the minute on the older championship standings? He's at 9th in the championship with 19 points as of the end of the Spanish Grand Prix.
Okay. What about Magnussen? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Magnussen is at 19. Sorry.
Okay. Where's Grosjean?
No points. He hasn't scored any.
Oh. Okay. Right.
So,
panic stations.
Yeah. And it's, the only other person who hasn't scored anything is Sergej Sirotkin.
Mm.
And so, yeah, it almost feels like he's reverting back to old, 2010 Grosjean and everything.
Yeah.
He's just, he needs to kind of get a hold of himself, I suppose. Just kind of, he was devastated afterwards. You could see it in his body language. He's just sitting there with his helmet on at the side of the road, sadly.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him, but hell, it was entirely self-inflicted. It's not like someone tagged him and then he spun around.
No, he's lost it on the surface, isn't he?
Yeah.
And
then he just booted the throttle, and it's just like, why?
Yeah. Personally, I think he would have been better coming off the throttle, maybe spinning to the back of the grid, but then at least people can see where you are. And
well, like I said, he'd have been able to then carry on.
Yeah.
And given how many people went out of this race, I granted 3 of them were because of him, but still, given that, there was always the opportunity. The Haas worked really well. What was it? Magnussen ended up finishing 6th?
Let me have a look. Yes.
Yeah, he was 6th. So, yeah, the car had pace. And, yeah, he just, I don't know. He's got to sort out his head.
Right. Okay. I know the surface has been resurfaced, shall we say?
Yeah.
Is this down to the tyres as well?
Well, I will just point out that there were, 20 other cars, 19 other cars went into that corner on that same surface.
Yep.
And none of them seemed to have any problem. Even, ones which were getting a bit wiggly still were pointing the right way.
I think Pirelli brought the wrong tyres.
Oh, I think that too. But I don't think that's an excuse for Grosjean.
No, but they don't want to be... I think Pirelli were playing it safe here. And they brought tyres where, 1, maybe 2 stops. Come on, guys, look. In a circuit like this where, in inverted commas, it's hard to overtake, why not bring the lower grade of tyres where you know that they're going to run out and you're going to get at least 2 changes per team or per driver, maybe 3. And that could create some excitement. I just can't think why they wouldn't bring softer tyres for these. Because they've done 1 million miles around this track anyway, so they know exactly what's going to happen there. So bring the softer stuff.
Devil's advocating, and I hate using the term because the devil doesn't need an advocate. He's the fucking devil.
Yeah.
But as you say, it has been resurfaced. So a lot of their data from last year won't be any good.
Yeah.
And during the testing in, when was it? February, it's so cold, it's effectively useless then as well.
Mm.
So it could be a case of the data they were basing their, what engine would, what tires were doing it was just obsolete. Because, they have to announce the tyres well in advance, don't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
So I think that might have played something of it. But yeah, you're right. They should. I always say I want to have at least two steps between each tyre that they bring. Because, you don't want to be in a situation where, this tyre will do 40 laps, and this one will do 38 laps.
No, that's not good enough.
Exactly. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. You need to differentiate them vastly, I feel. You need to have real fast tyres and then maybe a slower compound, and then you need that balance between the two where you can have one person from one team doing one sort of stint and then the other teammate doing a completely different stint, and just calculating it that way, hedging your bets with both drivers. Just make it a bit more exciting.
Well, as long as they're going to force them to run 2 tyres, then yeah. I mean, I do still yearn for the days where you could have someone like Alan Prost do an entire race on one set of tyres. But we don't live in that world anymore, so...
No. Or to have that option to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so Grosjean, yeah, he's out. Who else did he take out in this?
Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
And you could tell he hit it with so much force that he wrenched the wheel off of the rim.
Jesus.
And Gasly as well.
Yeah. And they were...
I was going to say, Gasly did the Gasly thing of just swearing, because that's his thing now.
They were hefty hits, though, weren't they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that Grosjean, he had to go to the medical centre, which means he must have tripped one of the G-meter alarms.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it destroyed that Haas. I mean, you saw all the coolant and everything leaking out the side of the radiator.
Yeah. And it took a couple of laps of the safety car to get all this carnage cleared out of the way, didn't it?
Yep.
So I don't know how many laps we had behind the safety car, maybe 6, I think, but...
yeah, I mean, this was on lap 1 and the safety car went on lap 7. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think Grosjean's reverting back to his old days where, he was there to prove things. If he was being steady, there could be a seat at Ferrari going very, very soon. And days gone by, he was mentioned when that seat was possibly going to be occupied. So I think he's lost that now. He's lost that chance.
Well, I mean, absolutely, especially given the other names which are currently being touted around with that Ferrari seat. He's got no chance.
Yeah. Wasn't it Ocon that was mentioned as well recently?
Recently, but again, I mean, getting slightly off topic, the 2 big names which I see I say big names, the 2 likely ones I reckon are either Ricciardo or Charles Leclerc. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing well, isn't he?
He's doing very, very well, given, it's his first season and given that he's in the Sauber, which by rights and by performance we saw pre-season should be nowhere.
Has no right to be scoring any points, really, does it?
No, it has no right to be fighting. I mean, hell, you saw him fighting off Alonso, and that was amazing. Well done, that man. So yeah, I think it'll be if they can get Ricciardo, they'll get him.
Yep.
I think I'll tell you what, it'll be telling if it's Leclerc next year. That tells me Vettel has a say in who drives alongside him. Because I don't think he's going to want Ricciardo or anyone who might challenge his supremacy. No,
he's going to want a number 2.
Yeah.
And that's why Kimi's there at the moment, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. And I think someone like Leclerc, still relatively young, is fast, he's got the speed, he's hungry, but he doesn't quite have the experience yet to be a serious challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. So, I know we had a virtual safety car as well, didn't we, with Ocon?
Yeah, that was a bit later on. I know it's a weird one. I don't know why they needed a virtual safety car then, to be honest.
Yeah, because he was on the other side of the track.
He was on the other side of the track, right next to the sodding exit road.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 2-second kind of... Hell, he could have just rolled it a bit further forward, and they could have just wheeled him back. So yeah, I don't quite know why they did that.
That virtual safety car kind of screwed up Ferrari's whole evening as well, didn't it? They looked like they were... I'm not going to say they were going to win, but they were pushing forwards with the tactics of, okay, right, we're going to pit first and we're going to control when we pit instead of reacting to Mercedes as always.
I just don't think they're particularly good at doing that.
No, something's gone wrong, man. Something's gone wrong. I don't know. So, is there anything that you want to talk about in this race? Any other aspects?
Hang about. Let me have a look at... a couple of things. let's see. Firstly, I noticed after that pit stop. I'll just read my notes just to go down here, basically. Okay. So the slow pit stop for Bottas kind of ruined his chance at that point because Vettel's pit stop was okay, but then he came out behind Magnussen. Yep. And then Bottas put in some nice laps, went to pit, but he overshot his marks a little bit. So his pit stop was a good second or so slower. And, he came out behind Vettel again. But still, long term, they managed to make that work. I noticed at one point Vettel came out right behind Verstappen. It was the first time we've really seen Vettel and Verstappen on the same bit of tarmac for a while. And if you recall, Vettel used to be quite afraid of Verstappen.
Yes. Yeah, the last time, wasn't it in Singapore?
I think so. So I was a bit interesting. I was like, ooh, is he still afraid? But then virtual safety car and everything came out and things changed, and that was that. Yeah. Verstappen collecting, was it Sorokin? It wasn't Sorokin, it was Stroll.
Stroll, yeah, he ran into the back of him, didn't he?
He ran into the back of Stroll, and while, okay, Stroll apparently was going too slow in the virtual safety car or what have you, mate, you got two fucking eyes. You're supposed to be the prodigy. Yeah. And you're just lucky that the damage wasn't worse on your Red Bull. Because, I mean, if that had taken out the vanes on that front wing, that would have ruined his race. Yeah. Completely. He'd have to go and have a wing change.
Or if he'd cut the tyre on Stroll, then he would have been brought into the pits for a penalty. Guarantee it.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, exactly. So, I mean, he was lucky he got away with that. But especially after last week, you cannot be making these kind of mistakes. You can't be running that close to the razor's edge. So,
personally, I think he was having quite a tidy weekend and he thought, well, I've got to do something. And, just decided to rip part of his wing off.
I think you're right. I mean, we've actually seen this before when he was it 2 years ago when everyone was kind of criticising him and he got told off for something and he calmed down after that, and he was very polite. He was a bit less egotistical. So I suspect if he has a few more quiet races, that's going to build up again until again it pops. I think this season is going to be very telling for Verstappen. It's very much going to be a case of he needs to prove now, because he can't use the defence that he's young. He can't use the defence that he's inexperienced. He can't use the defence that, he's not used to being in the top team. It's 4 years in Formula One, 3 years in the Red Bull.
Yep.
This is the year where you need to be consistently putting in good performances and not making silly mistakes like that.
Yeah, because they have the car as well, don't they?
Well, they definitely have the car. I mean, next time out in Monaco, they should be all over that place.
Yeah.
And again, the updates they brought here, okay, the engine might still not be there quite, but I've got to tell you, it's close enough now that if they get the aero proper and sorted, that will make up for it. So they're in that kind of butter zone where it's almost the full package. They're not going to dominate like they did back in 2009 through, well, it's in 2010 through to 2013, yeah. But they'll still be able to bring the fight to Mercedes and Ferrari.
Yeah, well, like you say, in Monaco, they should be all the engine deficiencies should be hidden with that track.
Yes, because the track is shit. But I'll get onto my rant later.
That's at the end. That to the end of this one.
But yeah. So anyway, there was that with Verstappen, and I think he was lucky more than anything else. He was lucky to not have any more damage, and lucky not to get slapped with a penalty.
Yeah.
Which actually reminds me of a bit of the news we didn't mention at the beginning. Williams got a bit appeal happy, weren't they? Appealing all the penalties they got in Azerbaijan.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And they were basically told, basically the FIA sent one of those letters, they kind of itemised all the reasons why you're wrong and left it at that. But anyway, we missed our chance to talk about that. I was fully expecting Williams, though, to start lodging a complaint about that, but they didn't. Or if they did, we didn't hear about it. Ricciardo had a spin under the VSC or just after the VSC.
I didn't see that though.
No one saw it apparently until after the race,
right?
When Crofty showed the video. But yeah, he just had a spin all on his own, so he did that. Sorokin did that as well.
Hang on. So is Grosjean forgiven for spinning under the safety car last time out?
No, it was after the VSC had gone in, so it was
okay.
getting back up to speed, and I think it was just cold tyres.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And no, Grosjean will never be forgiven. Because even if he spun, Ricciardo still kept it out of a wall and didn't try and blame someone who was like 5 miles behind him.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
A quick question for you, more than anyone else.
Mm.
Do you think it was a bit unsafe the way Van Dorn parked up his McLaren? Because he basically broke down going along the pit straight.
Yep.
And then he pulled straight across the pit lane. What if it was a cut? Because he's not going to be able to see behind him.
No, he's not, but maybe he's in... I'm thinking that he's in radio communication with his pit wall, and they know if the pits are clear. If there are no cars in the pit, and they're like, yeah, okay, just pull across it. You're absolutely safe to do that. So that's what I would think.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. I just saw him do that, and I was just like, if someone was about to peg it out of the pits, that would be unpleasant.
Yes.
I mean, I'll give this to the race. There was a couple of pit stops today where, it was a bit, mostly with Bottas and Vettel, are they going to get out ahead or not? But again, I mean, there was an onboard shot for Verstappen's pit, and it was looking back at his front right wheel, and he pulls up, and it's just off the wheel. It pulls up, and in one smooth fluid motion, the wheel comes off, the wheel goes on, and the car goes out of the pit.
Yeah.
And like I said before, it's very technically impressive, but it is in no way exciting to watch.
No, we've seen it a million times, haven't we?
Yeah. It's just I applaud your ability to have a dozen people working on a car at once, but it does nothing for my entertainment and fun watching the show here. So
yeah.
But again, that's I can see that becoming a long-standing rant of mine there. Other than that, not really a huge amount for me to say. I mean, Hamilton was imperious. Didn't do anything wrong. This, unlike last time out, this felt like an earned win for him.
Oh, I thought he bossed it.
Oh, absolutely. I still don't like them speaking to the drivers straight after the race.
No, don't like that either.
Don't like that.
Especially with Di Resta and Coulthard. Come on. We can do better than that.
It'll be Jackie Stewart next time.
Yeah. But there was a format. The guys came out, they went into the cool-down room, we could listen to them in the cool-down room, then they went on the stage, and then you got the interviews. Now, I wasn't a fan of the interviews when they first started them, but I've got used to it. But I don't like this thing down in the pits, when people in the stadium, nobody can see that's happening, because you got too much kerfuffle going on around that. You want them on the stage so you can see them. If you're going to do it, might as well do it in front of everyone so they can all see it. I
mean, I know why they're doing it. Because they're hoping someone's going to have had like a proper argy-bargy, be pissed off at someone fight.
Mm.
And they want to get that instant reaction before they've had a chance to cool down. But most of the time, we're not going to get that. And it just seems like harassment. It's like the guy's been racing for 2 hours, he's fucking, dehydrated, probably wants a drink.
Yeah, they haven't even got their helmets off.
Yeah, and already you got bloody, he's trying to put his steering wheel back on the sodding car, and you got Di Resta saying, I'm going to go speak with Lewis. And it's just like, piss off, mate.
Yeah. I don't like it.
No.
Can we just go back to the race very briefly? There are two things that I wanted to mention.
Of course.
When Max had his damage on his car, and he had Vettel, who came out after the VSC behind him after his pit stop, Max was still able to pull away from him and gap him and keep him quite substantially far enough away from him so he wouldn't get into DRS. And, is that, even though he's got damage on his car, should Ferrari still be able to catch that car, or is that still down to the aero that we got the problems with?
I don't know. We've seen this a couple of times in the past where a car's had a bit of light damage on the front wing or something like that, and has still managed to go off and, effectively run quicker. I remember once, I think this was in 2007, Alonso in a McLaren, and he lost like the entire side of his front wing.
Yeah.
And he was putting in fastest laps. And I was thought, well, we should do this every race, which is a joke they always make. I just think it was just lucky how there was no damage to those fences. And I suppose because the majority of the turns are right-hand bends, So maybe that. I don't know, to be honest. Ain't got no answer for you.
Yeah, it just. I think a wounded car should be gobbled up.
Should be, but again, we're back into this whole, position is king. The cars cannot easily follow and pass.
Yeah,
and then we're back into the whole. Yeah, simplify the front wings so they're not quite as susceptible to the dirty air coming off of the cars in front, and then they can follow, they can slipstream, they can pass.
Yeah, and you said position is king, especially around here, as they always say about every single bloody track. But were Ferrari wrong? Well, obviously they were wrong, but to pull in Vettel in the virtual safety car, because I feel doing that gave Bottas a chance to cool down, gather his thoughts, and then make his tyres last a bit longer. And obviously a bit of fuel as well, because he was doing a lot of fuel saving.
Hindsight is always 20/20.
Yeah.
If they hadn't done it, I don't know. I suspect that Mercedes might have decided to pit. Allegedly the plan always was to do 2 stops for Bottas at least.
Right.
Which is why it was there. I just don't think Ferrari had confidence in their car or their tyres.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, this is why we say it's a 200-mile-an-hour game of chess. You're trying to anticipate what the other guy's going to do.
Yeah.
And he just got it wrong.
Yeah. I also noticed, last thing I want to say about the race itself, Sorokin, because he was running around in last for most of the race, actually, I think.
Yeah.
And the good thing about this timing system that we have on there is that they always have the distance between the car in front, and it's updated very regular.
Mm-hmm.
Not even in the sectors. It's even quicker than that.
Yeah.
And you could just slowly see Sorokin just dropping away ever so slightly from Hartley, and then all of a sudden Hartley got in front of Ericsson, and then he was still dropping away from Ericsson. You're like, oh Jesus, man! And at one point you thought Ericsson might even lap Sorokin, and I was like, I think he ended up 3 laps behind everyone else anyway. So I know we shouldn't be asking this, but is he quick enough for this, or is it just down to the car itself? Because if it is down to the car, Williams have just done the world's worst 180, because when it was Mercedes were the engine to have, somehow they've still got the engine to have, but they haven't got the car under them whatsoever, have they?
Well, I mean, let's think back to was it last year?
Right.
We agreed we wouldn't criticize Palmer until after the the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Basically, we wouldn't do it until the mid-season break.
I know, but it's so hard not to.
I know. We miss our favourite punching bag. I know. It's
Oh,
okay.
by the way, you saw that picture, didn't you?
Which one?
On Twitter of Palmer's brother.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
1.4 seconds behind everyone else. Well done. Keeping up the family trait. Well done.
I don't know. I kind of wish his brother was better than him. I think that would hurt more. Anyway, besides the point.
He's driving a car.
Right. Not going to say it. Not saying anything. Moving on. I think, look, we saw this with Stroll as well. Last year he was kind of nowhere for the first half of the season. I'm not particularly impressed with him so far this season. Look, Williams have made a dog.
Yeah.
What we need to understand is it a case of Paddy Lowe's come in, and much like when Ross Brawn first came to Honda, you've got to basically take a year just to take stock of where you are. So you effectively write that year off while you understand where you are. Then the next year you start building up a team around you and start putting things in place, and then you get to the point where, he went to Honda in 2007, I want to say.
Yes, when Schumacher quit, wasn't it?
No, because I think he went to Honda in 2007, and then they were in a position to win in 2009 as Brawn. And because of that foundation he implemented there and then, that's now the Mercedes team.
Yeah.
And that has and this is what he also did with Ferrari when he went there. He goes into Ferrari, You take a year to take stock. You then take a year to start bringing in the people you need, get your roots sorted, get your foundations good, and then you go on to dominate. So if Paddy Lowe's trying to do that, we kind of have to give him this year off. It gives him a chance to understand that.
Yeah.
I think what we then have to do is we kind of have to judge him on next year. So I think Williams is going to be nowhere this year. I think it's entirely possible to end up being last place. I don't think that necessarily means, though, that Williams as a whole is lost. It all depends on how good Paddy Lowe is. Because as important as he was to Mercedes, he didn't build that. Ross Brawn built that. So we've got to see if he can do that.
Okay.
Just my thoughts. No, I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you, though. They should have kept Massa or put Kubica in the car. You have an experienced driver and a rookie. That's how it should be.
Yeah. Look, yeah, okay. I don't know. I'm just looking at it, and I know I should be saving my powder until mid-season.
No. I'll tell you what. No. Point it at Grosjean. He's fair game right now.
Okay, fine, fair enough. Yep.
He's been in racing in Formula One long enough to know better than to plant your fucking foot if you're having a spin.
Yeah, he's having a midlife crisis, isn't he?
A little bit. I mean, he's been racing since 2009. That was his first season.
Right.
So yeah, you absolutely should know better. He was banned for a race, wasn't he, once?
Yes, he was after the Belgian Grand Prix where he crashed into pretty much everyone.
Yeah. So yeah,
oh man, he could have killed at least 4 drivers that day. Flipping hell. Okay, right. I'll point it towards Grosjean. Yeah, we're gonna rip the piss out of him next race if he does anything wrong. So we should be ripping the piss out of him now, really. Someone has to make a video of it slowly panning into Grosjean as he sits on that stair, and it's just like plinkety plonkety piano music. Where did my life go wrong? Anyway, okay. Was there anything else? I know Kimi broke down, didn't he?
Yeah, Kimi broke down. And I kind of mentioned it at the beginning when you were talking about him breaking down in qualifying. But yeah, they don't know if the engine is terminal. But if it is, that means he might well be on his last engine as well.
Oh, man. He needs a break. If someone needs a break, it's him. Well, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. Yeah. So.
Well, he does, but again, he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's gearing up to retire. Yeah. Ooh, can I put? Have you got your tinfoil hat?
I have. Yes.
Right. I think Hamilton might retire at the end of this season.
Okay, after he wins the crown.
If he wins the crown, well, either way, but he is speaking after. Maybe this is why it is a good idea to do it straight away. Well, I think it was to Teresta. Or maybe it was to Sky. No, it was to Sky. But anyway, yeah, it was Sky. And he goes, I'm feeling more excited about this. And what exactly did he say? He basically said something. He said something which he goes, yeah, it's great after all this time to still have this, before I. And he said something. I mean, he goes, well, as long as I keep feeling like this, I'm sure I'll be racing for many years to come. But he overcorrected what he said. Okay. And he made me think he might be thinking, you know what? And also, look at how chilled he is with Bottas.
Yep.
And I'm sure Bottas is a lovely bloke. I absolutely am. But if you were looking at, a possible long-term teammate and everything there, who might be a threat to you in future seasons, you'd probably want to keep him a bit at arm's length. You wouldn't be going up and consoling them, saying, no, you should have won this one. This should have been yours the last time and everything. You'd be polite and all that. I don't know. My tinfoil hat, I think Hamilton might well retire at the end of this season.
Okay.
He might announce it. So that's just my thoughts.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I can totally see it happening. And I think there's a few reasons for that. I don't think he's been sparkling this season, apart from that pole position lap in Australia and this race today. And he clearly had the legs on everyone throughout the whole weekend this weekend. Mm-hmm. But it was the pole position in Australia and today's race. And even even with some lackluster performances, which I think he's just put in, and he's just turned up, phoned it in, and he's still winning he's leading the championship, and he's stretched his lead in the championship again. And it's as if it's too easy for him.
I think he's bored.
Well, I think that's maybe what it is. It is too easy. I don't think he'll want another challenge now. And this
I think if he gets 5, fine. I've beaten Vettel to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would. He'd probably, he might deep down think he could get 7 to beat Schumacher, but his hero is always Senna.
Yeah,
he's done the 3. Well, he's done 4 now.
Yeah,
but it might be a case of if I do 5, I'm good with that.
Yeah,
and I think he might be a bit envious of Rosberg, who quit on top of his own choosing.
Yeah,
he chose the date and time of his own. I'm good. I'm done. I'm out. My tinfoil hat is, I reckon, I tell you what, I bet if he wins, if he's ahead by the time we get to a mid-season break, after they come back, he might announce his retirement.
I reckon he'll do a Rosberg.
You reckon he'll go to the...
Yeah.
All right.
I reckon he'll tell the team, because they need to sign that contract and they need to get all that sorted out. Unless it leaks. Unless whoever is set to take over from him leaks. But, Mercedes sorted it out last time, didn't they, in the off-season, so there's no reason why they couldn't do it again. But let's look at his body language throughout the rest of the season, yeah? Or maybe up until mid-season, where it's almost like a goodbye season. But he's the only one that knows it. He's very chilled, he's very relaxed, as if, look, there's no pressure. I'm going to win anyway. I'm just enjoying it. There's no more stress. All the stress is going to be gone very, very soon. And, it's like a farewell tour, but he's the only one invited to the actual meeting that it is a farewell tour. So, I like your theory. I do like your theory. And it's entirely possible.
Yeah, just like I said, I'm tinfoil hat theory. I reckon he might go, and I think that will be interesting.
It's going to leave a big, not for myself personally, but it's going to leave a big gap in Formula One, isn't it?
Well,
he's a darling of Formula One. He's a poster boy of Formula One.
Oh, for Liberty Media, he's definitely kind of like, an important one there. But yeah, don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, should we run down the top 10 of this race?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Lewis Hamilton won the race, as we've previously stated, by about 20 seconds. So it was a nice stroll in the park for him. He beat Bottas, so Mercedes got their nice 1-2. So they're all happy with that because they had corporates there today. So all the big wigs will be very happy with that, with lots of trophies going back to their offices. So they'll be happy with that. Max Verstappen ended up on the podium, which was nice to see. So
lucky boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so close for him not actually finishing the race if he'd hit that Williams any other way, really. So Vettel ended up 4th. Daniel Ricciardo was 5th, even though he was setting fastest laps. I know you said he had a spin, but he was kind of from nowhere.
I think he got the lap record, at least as far as race laps go, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Then Kevin Magnussen was 6th, Carlos Sainz was 7th, Fernando Alonso was 8th, Sergio Perez was 9th, and Charles Leclerc was 10th. So he picked up the final points. In the championships, we have Lewis Hamilton leading with 95 points. In second position is Sebastian Vettel with 78 points. Valtteri Bottas is third with 58 points. Kimi Räikkönen didn't score any points this time out, but he's still 4th. With 48 points, and Daniel Ricciardo has 47 points. Would you like to do the Constructors' Championships?
I would, if I get back to that page real quick. Moment.
No, it's fine. I can do it.
I found it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, McLaren have dropped down to 5th with 40 points. Renault have gone up 1 with 41 points. Red Bull are sitting pretty at 3rd with 80. And there's a bit of a gap. to Ferrari, who have come down from first to second with 126 points, and then Mercedes are out in front with 153.
Good man. Okay, right. Should we get on to our predictions and what we had from last time, and then maybe set some up for Monaco next time out?
Yes, sounds good, sir.
Okay, right. As my contract stipulates, do you remember what you went for last time out?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Okay, right. Well, the pole position, you went for Hamilton, I went for Kimi Räikkönen, and you ended up with the point. So congratulations to you, sir.
I'm off the ground.
That's right. Yeah, you have your first point of the season. So well done, you. Do you know who you went for the race?
Hamilton?
You certainly did.
Booyah!
So you got 2 points. Well done. I, on the other hand, went for Ricciardo, and yeah, no points for me. So bad luck for me there. In the third column that we normally do, we had the top Spanish driver. Now, we had to guess where this top Spanish driver would finish, and then for an extra point, we had to guess who the top Spanish driver would be. So, do you remember who you went for or position?
I think I went 6 with Alonso.
In fact, you went with Alonso, so you didn't get any points for that anyway, and 5th.
Ah, well.
So, yeah, you didn't get any
Nil
points.
point.
Nil point for you. Which is kind of ironic because we had the Eurovision last night. Although I didn't watch a single bit of it, so. And I went for Sainz. And guess what position I went for?
6.
No, 7th.
Ah!
Yeah.
Well, you get a point, don't you?
I get 2 points.
Oh, that's right, because it was science.
Yeah.
Ah, there you go.
Get in. So, yeah, I was watching him going round, and I had my book in front of me going, oh, yes, I think I've got this. I think I've got this. And around about maybe over halfway through the race, he was in 7th, and he had Alonso slowly catching him. I was like, don't you fucking dare, man. Don't you dare. You're going to ruin everything. I'll lose 2 points if you overtake him once. And he was getting closer. And I think it was down to like 2 or 3 seconds at the end of the race.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was close. It was very close. But, yeah, I ended up pulling 2 points out of the bag. So, as it stands at the moment, I have 6 points and you have 2 points as we go into Monaco.
It's okay.
So, there we go.
If there's one thing I've learned so far this season, and from every season, everyone writes this person behind off at the beginning. And you go, oh, well, it's Vettel's to win at this point. Hamilton's nowhere. And it's just like 5 races into a 21-race season.
Yeah. Okay, well, since you've asked that, where do you think this championship is going?
Oh, I think Hamilton's going to win.
You think Hamilton's going to win it, yeah?
I do.
At a Stroll?
I think we're going to see effectively a carbon copy of last year. I think Red Bull and Ferrari will scrap away, occasionally challenge Mercedes, but I don't think they will consistently be able to steal points away from Mercedes. And I just think once Mercedes get a bit of momentum going, it's a juggernaut, effectively. They've got the resources, they've got the experience, they've got a car they understand. Most circuits are going to play out like Barcelona, as they typically do. I mean, we always say the first 4 races are usually outliers.
Yeah,
They're abbreviations. And yes, Monaco is going to be an outlier as well, but most circuits are going to play out something akin to Barcelona, which is one of the reasons why they're pushing through these changes to increase overtaking. If all the races were like Azerbaijan, we wouldn't have a problem.
No, it's true. Absolutely true. Okay. Right. So, predictions on the Monaco Grand Prix, which I know you absolutely love and are gagging to watch. No? You're not? No?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
People who aren't familiar with the car, new
Here we
listeners,
go.
I fucking hate the Monaco Grand Prix. I detest it. It symbolises to me everything wrong with Formula One. I don't doubt it's a fun place to go in person to go and watch, to be there, to be around the glamorous yachts and all that. Look, yes, the reason I didn't see qualifying was because I was in Cannes. I had to go and have some meetings and all that. But I was there for the film festival, right?
Oh, suit you.
Let me finish. You're right. You look at it from the outside. It's glamorous. It's awesome. There's these yachts. These beautiful people. There's the hotels. Let me tell you something about Cannes. You ain't getting into any of that because you're a fucking nobody. No one is getting into that, right? Basically, it's great if you've got the access, if you get in there. Otherwise, it's a bit meh. That's what Monaco's like, right? Monaco, the yachts. You ain't getting on those yachts. The Hotel de Paris, fat chance. You're never getting in there. Monaco is, you go to Monaco because the previous regime and people go, oh yeah, it's all about the history and all that. No, we just want to go and get a fucking piss up in Monaco with their tax breaks and in fun. I defy you to name me 5 legendary races around that circuit where there's been overtaking, drama and everything. It's a fucking procession 99 times out of 100. I hate Monaco. The only exceptions I will give Monaco is when it rains. When it rains, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And if it rains, I will be excited like you wouldn't believe. But it's not going to rain because I'm not that lucky.
No.
Fucking hate Monaco. I also hate the fact everyone is so in love with the idea of Monaco. Whenever they're talking about, oh, we need to get rid of circuits or other. I mean, Bernie Ecclestone would threaten to drop races every 30 seconds. I guarantee you Monaco doesn't pay a single sodding penny for its race. Guarantee you.
Allegedly.
I ain't saying it.
Oh, okay. Well, I am saying it on behalf of Grand Prix Podcast. I'm saying allegedly, and this fool doesn't know what he's talking about.
I will say this. If someone wants to invite us to the Monaco Grand Prix and give us VIP access, I will fully recant everything I just said and declare it the best race on the sodding planet.
Look, if you want to invite us on your floating caravan, I will more than happily turn up there. I've got no problems with that whatsoever.
Yeah, let us be on no delusions. I am 100% for sale. I have no integrity whatsoever.
Oh,
but
yeah,
until that
there
point,
is no lower threshold here at all.
But until that point, I fucking hate Monaco.
Yeah. Okay.
And because we haven't said it for a while, you should know that the preceding podcast does contain swearing, so you probably shouldn't listen to it if you don't like that.
By the way, can we call them floating caravans from now on? Just okay. When we watch Monaco this time round, just think of them as floating caravans. That's it.
Well, it'll give me something to look at while I watch the procession going around and around and around and around and around and around.
Anyway, who would you like to go for pole position? Or who would you like to, who are you predicting for pole position this time round and around?
Oh, before I get to that, because someone has forgotten that we have a format here.
Oh, what have I forgotten?
Last time out, we had Kimi on pole.
Oh, okay.
And Vettel, Kimi, and Ricciardo were the podium, with a fastest lap set by Perez. And in terms of most wins here, 6 with Ayrton Senna, 5 with Graham Hill and Michael Schumacher, 4 for Alain Prost, 3 for Rosberg, Jackie Stewart, and Sterling Moss. And that's Nico Rosberg, not the KK Rosberg. And 2 for Hamilton, Vettel, Alonso, and so forth. So there you go. Who do I think is going for pole then?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a tricky one. That is a tricky one.
Because it's total opposite end of the scale of the Spanish Grand Prix that we've just seen.
Spanish Grand Prix. Get it right. Sorry. I'm going to go with Ricciardo.
Ricciardo.
Yeah.
Okay. Ricciardo. Well, since you've nicked my one, I'm going to go with Vettel. Okay. And who would you predict for the race win?
Whoever's in the lead at the end of the first corner.
Well, that's leading on to my third column.
I'm going to go with Ricciardo again.
You're going with Ricciardo?
He's due. He should have won it last time. Was it last time or the time before?
Time before.
Yeah, but still, yeah. Ricciardo's due.
Should have been Kimi last time.
Yes.
But he got kind of shafted. But there we go. Okay, so who am I going to go for the win? Vettel. Going to have to. Okay, right. Third column. I was thinking number of leaders in the race. How many?
I love it.
Yeah, are we up for that?
I'm up for that.
Okay.
We need to qualify. Are we just talking leaders in, like, including like out of position? I mean, literally leads a lap. Yeah.
Yeah, leads a lap. You have to go over the finishing line to be qualified as a leader of the race.
2.
So 2 leaders of this race.
Wait. No, 1.
1. So
1.
Okay.
No, 2. Sticking with 2. Sticking with 2.
I'll be honest, I've just scrubbed out the 2 in pen. So I'm now going to have to rub out the 1 and write 2 again. You've
That's
now
fine.
cost me a line in my notebook. But that's fine.
You'll get over it.
I'll do that for you, mate. It's fine. See what I do for you? Don't say I don't do anything for you.
You don't do anything for me.
Right, so you would think throughout the whole race there will be 2 leaders up front.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, okay. I will go with... Oh, it's so easy to go with 1, isn't it?
That's why I was going. No, I'm going to change it. And it's a bit late since I've already put mine down, and I'm happy to stick with it.
Well, that does mean me rubbing out the 2 again.
No. I'm staying with the 2. I just want to ask for. I'm sticking with 2, but I want to ask for a clarification question, effectively. Right?
Okay.
Is it over the line, leader? Like, can you pass someone, but then? So basically, if they come off the line, right? Ricciardo is leading at that point.
He is, yes.
But
well, Vettel is leading because
Vettel is whatever. My point is, whoever's on pole is leading, right?
Yeah.
If they then get into the first corner and Ricciardo or Vettel, whoever's overtaken them, and that's it, does that count as 2 leaders, or does it have to be over the start finish line?
Well, I think the official timings do it as over the start finishing line. It's leaders at the end of the lap, isn't it?
So we'll do with that, yeah.
Oh, see, yeah. Now you've put a spanner in that works, haven't you? But I think the easiest way is if we find a timing where it's official timing, and then they will give you the exact amount of leaders in the race.
Yeah. All right, fine. I mean, I think it should be over the start finish line because I was just thinking, because like I said, I don't think, with the exception of a pit stop, there is going to be no changes of the lead. But I think in that first corner, you might have someone noses out ahead before they get to the first corner, and I wanted to know would they count or not.
No, that wouldn't count, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Oh, man. I could play it real safe, like I did with the safety car.
It's like the safety car thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
This was inspired, mate. This was inspired. I love it.
But then it might be an absolutely mental race.
It could rain. It won't, but it could.
It won't, but it could. Do you know what? And, okay, are we doing nearest to pin as well?
No.
Okay.
We're going nearest
I'm
to
going
pin.
4.
I was going to say, went nearest to pin. You just say 3. I mean, you've won whatever happens.
I'm going 4. 4
Okay.
leaders of the race.
All right. It's a bold strategy, Cardinal. Let's see how that plays out for you.
I think you're going to get closer, but possibly you still won't win because it just be 1.
because it's nearest to pin. Yeah, it might be 1 or 3, but I think, hell, if it's 4 and if it's like, oh, yeah. This is a good one, mate. I like this one.
Okay, cool. Right, there we go. It is all written in pen. You cannot rub that out, even though
You can scribble it out, but you can't rub it out.
You can scribble it out, but yeah. Okay, there we go. So that's all written down for history to be told. When is the Monaco Grand Prix? Is it next weekend?
I think it's the weekend after. Hang about. Let me have a look.
Where's my calendar? I have it in my calendar. Yes, the weekend of the
27th.
It's starting 24th, 26th, and 27th.
Yes, because it's MCM, so I won't actually be around. So yeah, because I give it.
Right. That's right. Yes.
I'll watch it when I get back.
That's fine. As long as you're around to do the recording, then that's good for me.
Of course.
Okay, cool. Right, well, thank you to everyone who's listened to this. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you haven't minded us swearing a little bit because we do have a little bit of potty mouths. Incidentally, we do have other shows that we can, or you can, listen to. So, Andy, where would they be able to download all that sort of stuff?
You can find all of our content, well, all of my content and most of your content on RogueTwoMedia.com, where you can listen to us on the Band of Brothers podcast and the Earth to the Moon podcast and you're always on Shonky Lab. I'm sometimes on Shonky Lab.
That's correct.
You can get to The Great Derelict from there, where I talk about science fiction, and Elton is sometimes on that. In fact, I think it's about you're due another visit to The Derelict at some point.
I am, yeah.
We'll have to maybe kids TV spaceships or something like that.
Oh, we all know how that ended last time, though.
I know, yeah, that was fun. That was, but yeah, that's where you can find most of our stuff, and you could also find Elton on the Black Dog podcast, which is at blackdogpodcast.com.
That's right. And all these shows can be found in iTunes. And if you do have 5 minutes spare, then please pop along to iTunes, give us a 5-star review, and maybe a little writing as well. I know you can do that.
And if you like this, maybe give it to a friend, recommend it. Maybe, if you're in control of like the PA system at a building, just play it for everyone. That'd be good. Just kind of subject them to that.
If they are doing that, by the way, right now, hello building, how are you?
Hiya.
Bloody idiots.
You know what you should do? You should hook this into your elevators. Get rid of that music, just have this playing.
Yeah, I have thought it. But it means ripping it onto a chip, and yeah, sometimes you can get told off.
No one's got time for that kind of work.
Flashing chips, no, thank you very much. Anyway. So, yeah, please pop along to iTunes, give us a review, give us all the other shows that we've mentioned a review as well, and all of the details will be in the show notes, so you can catch it all there. So, until the Monaco Grand Prix, which I'm a fan of and Andy is not, we will say goodbye. No. So, see you later. Bye-bye.
No, don't like it. Not doing it. Don't want to do it.
You'll love it this time out, mate. You'll love it.
No, I won't. No, I won't. No. Bye.
Especially if October's got a problem because 2.8 has become 1.9 in the space of a lap. So that's going to happen, isn't it?